Okay, should be recording now. Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to try and have a look at a few different things. I have to update, rebase an old MR that I was working on and try to fix the last thing that I was missing from that. If we're going to give it 10 minutes or so, and then try to move on to one thing that Lee pointed out to me to try and have a look at the create merge request button that's not visible on an issue if you don't have access to the project, but you might have access to a fork. So you could create a merge request on the fork. So first thing first, before I forget, let's share my screen. Okay. So the MR that I was working on is the same one that we had a look a couple of sessions ago about exposing a few new bits to the doable interface on GraphQL that's needed to migrate the view application, the view to-dos page to a view application. And the last thing that I was missing is to do interface. So let's increase a little bit. So basically, all to-do elements, to-doable elements like issues, MRs, project groups, they all implement this to-doable interface module. This module has a to-do path method that's has to be overridden on each real to-doable class, like the issue, MR, project, etc. But the MR was complaining about the code coverage for that specific method on the to-doable interface, because this is never reached, because all the existing to-doable existing GraphQL types that implement the to-doable interface, they do override the to-do path. So no one of those, basically there's no coverage for this method, because every class is overriding its own. So the idea here was to create a fake class implementing the to-doable interface, and basically have this fake class not override the method, and basically make sure that when calling the to-do the method on that class, we would get a not implemented error. I reached out to the team to have an idea on how to do it, because I had a look around and to see how I could create a class, basically an instance of a class here on the specs. And I found existing examples where they use this fresh object type, which I had a look later, basically creates a new base object type from GraphQL. And then, which one? So basically this creates the object. And this, since the to-doable interface is not a class, we cannot instantiate that directly. We have to create an object, a class, implement the module inside of that class, and then create an instance of that object. So this wasn't really cutting it. So I reached out internally and they pointed me to another example, which I'm going to try now. So let's see. Oh, before we do this, I updated my GDK this morning, so we have to rebase with main and hope it works. with master. Okay. Hopefully we won't have any conflict. We do have one. More than on the specs because I added name and to do path. Yeah. Let's see on my MR just to make sure. Merge request type. No, on the specs. Merge request type spec. Yes, I added to do and to do path and name, so we can do this to have both. Okay, perfect. Rebase, continue. Okay. So now, since it will take some time to prepare the specs for actually running, let's do this. And in the meantime, let's try to work here. So class new def access. So this is the definition. And then how are they using the implementation? Implementation execute. Okay, so that creates an object. Let's see. So we want to create an object with the same thing as a fresh object type. Let's try this. So we create a new base object because we don't really care about the actual type. Then we do the same thing that issue type does, which is implements type to doable interface. We shouldn't need anything more than that. This and binding dot bright because I want to see what implementation is. We could also put inspect. I think that's a Ruby method. Let's try. And we have to wait for this one to start. While this is running, I guess we can have a look at the merge request thingy that I was talking about. So yeah, it's compiling. In the meantime, basically on an issue page, let's find an issue, this one. On an issue page in a project that you have, I'm thinking developer access, but we are going to check this right now. There's this create merge request button available that basically takes the issue and creates a branch and creates the MR directly. But if you don't have access to the project, you don't see that this button. But you might have access to a fork for that project. So we could try and see if we can change the change the behavior is going to be tricky because not only we have to make the button visible, we also have to create the branch on the fork that you want to work on and create DMR from that branch to the main to the project that the fork was created from. So it's not going to be that easy, but we can at least try to have a look and see if we can make this button public and then see how we could create basically what this does and see if we can create if we can find a way to create the branch on the fork and so on. But we can wait a little bit because this ran, so we can now try and see. Okay, so let's see implementation methods. That should be how do I list inspect Ruby list methods object methods. Yeah. Implement methods. I spelled it wrong. Do we have to do path? Would it be easier if this was sorted? Doesn't look like it. Instance implementation not to do path. No method name to do path. And this is of course going to fail. Undefined method to do path. And the method is to do path. Right here and see what the implements does. Mm. So this is a GraphQL thingy. So new interfaces. What is this? Interfaces. That's okay. Each do is a module. Is it? Is a module. True. Next. Next. This is not being raised, so this should be true. Okay. Next. Next. This is including the module. So can I step into this? Yes. Child class is a class. In this case, it's been included. Next is a schema object. True. This is being included to an object type. Make sure it's using implements. And that's what we are doing. Okay, but what about the method? Okay, this is field. Let's see. Do I get a list of fields up to date? Oh, this is getting included. name exists, but not the to-do path. Define method. Undefined method. Undefined. Why? I don't know why. Uh, wonder if this is just not getting included. Let's see. Included. Included do. Just curious. Argument. Argument. Is results subscription. Results subscription. Should make some. Yeah, it doesn't exist a real test for this module. Mutation described class, but this is included. Yeah, it doesn't really have base update. Mm. Wonder if this is going to work. These are all private, but or all inside of mutations. Do we also have types? Resolvers. Types. This is the only type that has a not implemented error. I'm tempted to do this and see what. How do you want me to fix this? I'm tempted to leave it as this and see and ask the reviewer what they think about not raising the exception if the pipeline passes. because at this point, I'm not really sure what to do. So let's see what the team suggests. So one thing that I have to do is remove interface spec this and I shouldn't have done this. Okay. That one, yes. Okay. Let's put the last two comments together. It is only the I have to create a comment with these changes. What's the name of the comment? Is last two. That one. Say close. X. I hope failing. Oh, and I have to, well, it's going to be bundle exec break it GraphQL schema. I have to update the GraphQL schema. It up the sideline, I think. Break tasks. Okay, tasks. The GraphQL documentation scheme and definitions. Perfect. GraphQL compile docs. Okay. I thought that with the rebase, I had to update the docs as well, but I guess it's fine. Git push. And let's not verify. Otherwise, it will take forever and probably fail due to the rebase. Okay. And let's see if the pipeline fails or passes. So going back to the merge request from the issue. Let's see the create merge request button. Let's try to find it. So restart JDK because we switched branch. So I might complain a little bit. Okay. Let's find a project with an issue. Plenty. Checking branch availability. From the look of it, I am pretty sure it's going to be a view application. It's not. Nice. So, yep. Components pajama button. New branch issues. New branch HTML handle. New branch HTML from the issue. So if the user can push code to the project, so this is the first thing that we would need to change. So let's see. Let's create a to-do list. So tweak the tweak line one in to also check if the user uh, user has the can push code, because I'm pretty sure this is no, can push code to any of the forks they have access to. Create merge requests in project. So this is probably going to be false for the project, but how is this? So if the user cannot create a merge request, they can create a branch. And let's see. If we go to the members of the project and find the reporter Josiah, can I impersonate from here? No, it's the user 47. User J Josiah. Josiah, this one. Impersonate. So now we see. Okay. if we go back to the same issue, oh, because I am a reporter and the reporter cannot push code. So let's see, how is this useful then? Enable. If the user has guest access and can download code. Merge request disable, repository disable, or cannot download code. This is strange. But since we're not even seeing the button, I'm pretty sure that push code prevent. Also enable. The user has developer access. Only developers can see that button. But developers can also create merge requests in the project. Don't really see why this is useful, but we can. Uh, the user has to use developer access to be able to even see the button. So to unless our merge request able to be disabled. General features. So the repository. Okay, because merge request can be disabled. So if we disable this, save the changes, and go to the issue again. Yes, this is create branch. Okay, so that makes sense. This is used to handle the case when the env is. Okay, so can create branch project issue path. Create. So when the user clicks that, create a mark path issue to branch name source project. MR branch issue ID create branch path. Yeah, this was changed recently, but I wonder, create MR path, source project from, so create MR from the branch name created from the issue. And that's good. Source project, this could be changed with a fork. Issue ID, that wouldn't change. Create branch path. Create branch path. This is project branches. Project branch name. I think this could also be tweaked because we need to have this create branch path, not for the project always at least, but for the project if the user can has developer access, or this should be one of the forks the project the user has developer access to. So can create, I'm curious, what is this? This is an API path. And the ability to use a custom branch name. Creation from this is very old. Project branches path is also is also great. Can create issue. Let's see if can create issue is available somewhere without no. API project. Too wide for a search. Well, let's see. Going. So we have to change line 8 to line 10. Always use change between the project if the user has developer access to the project itself. One of the forks the user has developer access to, otherwise in that case, I think it would change the feature altogether because this would not, this would need to change because we have to not only have the branch name and the source, but we would also have to let the user select the fork. How should the user select which fork to use? Um, always show the drop down another field to select fork. split and may button directly creates the branch and the MR. We can't have it that way if the user has access to more than one fork. Okay, I think I'm going to leave. Let's have a quick look at the issue. It should be visible in the issue and create measure by targeting the fork. When I create an issue in a forked project, the button is not available. This is a slightly different request because this is basically creating an issue in the fork of the project, not to have the create merge request button visible on the issue of the main project. So this is a slightly different variation, but I'm actually tempted to create a different issue to discuss showing the create merge request button on the main project issue if the user has access to at least one fork with developer rights. Because this issue is talking about a different issue problem. Yeah. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't have time anymore for today, but I will create a new issue to discuss the showing the create merge request button for the main project when the user has access to at least one fork. Yeah. Let's do that. Okay. Well, let's stop sharing the screen. So thanks anyone who is watching, because no one joined today, unfortunately, but that's not an issue. We worked on something anyway. So thanks everyone, and let's see you next week. Bye.